Brown Brothers.
Boom.
That's the clap. Yeah.
Sweet. Check. Hey, what's up, fam? You're here with the Brown Brothers podcast.
What's up?
Chevy and Jar. This is our first official episode, and what better way to do it than have it with our boy Ken Vaega. Awesome. Yeah, bro. So this is our first episode, bro. So forgive us if there's like a bit of like
Nah, you guys are doing mean, bro.
snaggly bits, but
Nah.
yeah. Also, we're just trying to fake it till we make it.
Hey, let's go.
Getting into our first question. Oh yeah, that's yours. I think that's
Just a little intro.
yeah, that was
Oh, that was the intro, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again. It's a snacky bit.
All right. So, kicking right off, brother.
Snacky.
We want to let the audience and the people know who is Ken Vaega as a person, not as a dancer just yet, but as a person.
Peel back the walls.
Damn.
Who
Yeah. It's funny because I knew that question was coming and it still like got me stumped a little bit. But nah, Ken Vaega, man, just a kid from South Auckland, grew up in Mangere.
That's good. Shout out to South
Who
Auckland.
was for real. Who was just eager, curious, tried everything, failed at most things, and just learnt along the way. That's pretty much. I mean, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro. I'm just someone from South Auckland, bro. Mangere hard. I grew up in Mangere. Was always into different things, trying different things. Sports was like the major thing, but then I kind of crept into like just being more creative.
What sports were you doing at that time?
Bro, honestly, I was trying everything. I was a massive fan of like softball. Softball, bro. Yeah. I was the catcher. I was the catcher because I couldn't throw with my right arm because I'm a lefty, and all they had back in my
Was the
school was
right-
just the
Yeah.
So I was like, nah, I can't do it. But yeah, no. It was softball. Obviously, growing up with a church background, we got
Right.
into like gilikiki,
Yep.
volleyball, and then with the boys, it was always like rugby and stuff like that. And so, yeah, bro. And then later on during my high school years, I got into gridiron. But yeah.
Gridiron.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Peppertoy Wildcats. That's the
Yeah.
vibes.
Shout out to Wildcats.
Shout out to the Wildcats, bro. But yeah, I was always into that stuff. And then growing up, like when I was really, really young,
Yeah.
I was super into like karate. So like kung fu and all that. My
Kung Fu
uncle,
Kenny, let's
I'm
go.
dying. My uncle is actually, he was, bro, one of the first generation of like kickboxers in New Zealand. And so he had like a whole like thing. He's a part of like the Liga. I don't know if you guys know the gym, Liga gym. They're like they do heaps of like Muay Thai stuff.
Right.
But he takes care of the South Island Liga.
Right.
So
right.
he's like the runner for that.
Damn.
Was,
yeah.
was he doing it here in Auckland?
Yeah,
before
bro. He was doing it when I was growing up, and you know I think he was one of the first like heavyweight champs. I'm not too sure.
Sure.
But let's like when
Damn.
this is before MMA was a thing. This is when
Yeah.
kung fu and karate were like kind of around the 80s.
Right.
Yeah.
So growing up, just kind of seeing what he was doing here and there, and then my mom always talking about it. I was like, oh, yo, I'm getting into karate. But yeah, bro, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just a guy from South Auckland who was always eager to try stuff, fail at stuff.
Just on that, was, being from South Auckland.
Yeah.
How was that growing up in South Auckland? That, you know, there's the certain aspects from certain different lenses that shed a different light on South Auckland.
Yeah.
Being from South Auckland, how can you shed some light on what that is like?
Yeah.
As being like a first person
Mm,
from
yeah,
South
yeah.
Auckland. So.
Yeah, bro. I mean, all I can speak on is kind of just my experiences.
Yeah,
Obviously from Mangere. Mangere is like a different hood, bro. I feel like there are different. Being from South Auckland, you know, different hoods are just different.
Yeah.
And so I felt like during my time in Mangere and just growing up around that area, there was heaps of like dangers in terms of like you grew up just kind of being wary of what you wore. You kind of
Yeah.
like when you're walking
feel
down the
that
street.
also. I feel
Yeah,
that also.
when you're walking down the street, you kind of just have to have this like not persona, like a fake like I'm tough type of thing, but you have to have your guards up when you're walking,
Yeah.
just every day. Yeah, getting into fights when we were younger, and just trying to just try not to get in too much trouble. But that's like the kind of darker side of being from the hood. But
Yeah.
I think, bro, there was just so much life
Yeah.
Yeah,
in the
talk
hood
on
as
that
well.
other
Yeah,
side.
Yeah.
Talk on
It's
that
like,
other side.
bro, it's just so lit, bro. Like, I remember in Mangry, for example, like every Saturday you would go to the flea markets. You know what I mean? And you would kind of just like walk around, bro, and you would just see like so many people from different ethnicities, from different backgrounds. You'd walk in, and then I don't know if you guys knew this, but in Mangry they had this like a jump jam for like elderly people, like a little like
I think I know what
yo.
you're talking
So
about.
that was like
Yeah.
that was crazy because you would walk through the town center. And you'd kind of just see that, and
See
you
it
just be
happening.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you just had some real buzzy characters,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I
real
could
buzzy
imagine.
characters. Yeah, bro,
Just
real
being-
buzzy characters.
Just being in that town center itself, there's always stuff
Yeah,
happening.
always, bro,
Yeah.
always. There's either
like
fights.
market.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's either there's a
There's
fight
always something
here.
happening.
There's someone yelling at their grandparents here or granddaughter or whatever.
Kids getting a whack on the
Yeah.
side.
You know how many times you just hear like different cries from different
Yeah.
babies.
Right.
But yeah, I felt like that. Always added so much flavor and life. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially because I grew up with my nana too, so just the whole
Nice.
traveling of just being around the old lady and just
Right.
kind of seeing life from her perspective, because it was real crack up, bro. Like she kind of just would roll into like the town center and the township and just kind of feed the birds type of thing.
Yeah.
It's just crack up, bro. Just different things to kind of.
That's character,
Yeah.
man. That's character. building
Yeah,
right
bro.
there.
Yeah. Shout out to my nana, bro.
Yeah.
Shout out.
A G.
So yeah, just shedding some light on the whole South Auckland experience. Would you say like, definitely as a person, growing up in South Auckland, and having those different experiences, built on your character and like who you are today as a person?
Yeah, hard.
Those experience. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Hard, bro. I think, just being a kid from South Auckland, I think you just try your best to kind of make it out the hood.
Right.
But it's never really like a talked about thing. Like,
Right.
no one's like, there's all this jibber jabber online and stuff like that. But as a kid, all you want to do is you just want to do good. You just want to achieve your dreams. You just want to do this and do that. You want to travel. When I was younger, I never traveled outside of the hood.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it was just literally like,
That's it.
that's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
you knew. It was
Yeah,
just like
that's it.
like
Yeah,
my
yeah,
street.
facts.
You
That's
go
it.
to the township where I'm from
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
and then go back the same way. Like you don't really travel, anywhere else. And then only later in my life was I able to kind of really experience like East Side, West
Right.
Side.
Yeah,
like,
and that just
but
awoke
legit,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Honestly, like it's crack up. Like I think back to it. But I think all of that definitely played with who I am now as like a person,
Right.
mainly because of like all the L's. Like in like growing up in anywhere,
about it.
I think
Talk about
anywhere you grow up, you just learn to live with different L's or different lessons. And I think
Yeah.
Right.
in the hood that I was brought up in,
Right.
there were just certain lessons that you kind of just you lived with, you learned from, and you never kind of look back. And so it's just real buzzy, like just the kind of determination, like you got to be resilient, you got to take things like as they come, you got to adapt, you got to be flexible. Those are the certain things that that I learned from growing up in a hard-ish place. But yeah, bro, honestly, it's just there's too many lessons, there's too many different things that I can't put into just one thing. But I think thinking back on it, just bro, the hood was lit.
Yeah.
7-5 was lit, bro. Honestly, Mangry is, I wouldn't have it any other way. And it's real cool kind of going back to Mangere now and kind of just walking around just the township and just being around everything, because it's different now, but it's just buzzy, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's if the world's gone smaller, you just get bigger, but it just changes, you know.
Probably both, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
bro.
it's
Like,
weird. It's
I
weird,
mean,
bro.
you're getting out there and doing stuff, and I guess that's making the world smaller for you. So
Nah, bro. It's shout out to the hood, bro. Because honestly, I
mad
took
shout
way
out.
too many hours to
Facts.
not learn from any of them. So
Yeah. That's
Nah.
huge. That's
Yeah, once
huge.
you're taking too many hours, if you haven't learned nothing,
Damn,
bro.
bro.
Come on now.
For real,
You do
bro.
something wrong, bro.
You're doing
Straight up.
circles. Doing circles.
actual.
Awesome, brother. So congratulations on having your first child.
Yeah,
Yo,
boss, congratulations.
Crazy.
Big milestone things.
Give us a little story about fatherhood and how you're sort of navigating that with your career and your life. How does that sort of play out in your...
Yeah, bro. I think fatherhood has been the best ever. Like actual, bro.
That's all I've heard
It's,
from anyone.
Yeah,
That's all I've
it's funny, bro, because you know, when I got married, me and my wife, like I was like super stoked, and I was like, flip, like this is lit, this is the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
And then I heard, you know, just different parents talking to me about how like having a kid like really does change everything, and in my mind I was like, yeah, okay, like you know, yeah, okay,
whatever. We'll see
like
what
you know,
happens.
yeah. I was like, I was always you know, just kind of on the fence about it, and I just didn't really understand it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, all I knew growing up was pursuing like a goal, whether it was sports, whether it was dance.
Of course.
It was always just this kind of chase to somewhere, you know what I mean, or something. I don't really know.
Trying to
Mentality, bro.
achieve something.
Yeah,
okay.
it was always just that drive, and then
And that's a personal thing, eh? It
yeah,
was just like
it's a-
you.
yeah, because I think for me, like I always had this chip on my shoulder, bro. And I think it might be, if we're peeling back the walls even further,
Yes, let's
Yes.
go.
it all
Yes.
it all came out of like, because I grew up not having my dad around, so I had this real not warped, but just had a different perspective on
Yeah.
kind of just what family looked like, and just kind of had this inner chip on my shoulder, you know what I mean, like and you know, it stemmed from that whole like, yo, was I not like good enough, or you know, like I never really understood, like growing up you would go to different gatherings and you would see like different parents, like, you know, full household parents, like father and a mother, and you kind of just sit there, and I was the oldest of my family, so I had to kind of be, I don't know, like the leader.
Yeah.
You were that
Stepping
child
up
in
to
there.
the
Yeah,
man.
bro.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, you got to look after your family now, and I heard that heaps growing up,
Yeah.
but I never really knew what that meant. And so
You're a kid yourself. also.
exactly, bro, exactly. And I got into heaps of fights, like, you know, obviously because of my background too, like I'm half Māori, half Samoan, but was brought up in a Samoan, like, you know,
Prominent
just
house. That was
exactly,
like-
yeah. So
Yeah.
there was just like this other side where, you know, back, I don't know if it's what it's like now with this new generation, but back then, like, in circles where I was around, like being Māori was just not always the easiest, like, I don't know what it was, culture to
Feel
be,
you,
bro.
bruh.
Yeah, like,
Feel
you know,
you,
you'd get
bruh.
mocked, you get teased.
Yeah,
I got into hella fights, like, probably when I was like 4, bro. We just fight, like,
So
all
like,
the
can I
time.
tell you something? That's
Yeah.
a Māori section.
It was just crazy, you know, and I think, yeah, like I said, it just goes back to that, but it was this constant pursuit of trying to, you know, be something, get somewhere, achieve something that no one can kind of take away from me or whatever. But honestly, bro, like it's only been 5 months, just 6 months now since since we've had our daughter.
Wow.
And bro, it's honestly been the best ride ever. I feel like the hunger to pursue something, it's different now. It's like I'll achieve stuff, but I will do it at a pace that suits my family, as opposed to it like
That's massive.
That's
you know,
mad.
coming down to just me, what I want,
Yeah,
and what's
the
good for
whole
me.
shift of you
Yeah,
or I to we.
Yeah.
And then that whole family, like your whole life changes when
Yeah.
that kid comes along.
bro. And I thought it
your-
was honestly like a overestimation or like a overly like said
Yeah.
thing, but nah, like it's
It's facts.
it's facts,
It's
bro.
facts.
It's real facts. And I think I'm so grateful for my daughter in many ways because of I feel like that chip on my shoulder, it's still there, but it's like with her, it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Salt
I've
on
tried
those.
to like kind of like when you have this chip on your shoulder for too long, it's all you've kind of known.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point where you're like, where I got like real tired just over everything. And then
Right.
when my daughter came, it was like, holy,
Whole
like,
new light.
yeah, like this chip on my shoulder isn't as big as I thought because now you've made it way less of a thing.
Yeah.
And it's
And at the end of the day, too, you're not your father.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and the way
Yeah.
that you now,
You get to choose.
Yeah.
you get to make
Facts.
that decision on being in your daughter's life.
Exactly.
And being an active father.
Yeah.
You know? So that's
Hard.
beautiful, man.
it's been the best, bro, honestly. But yeah, my daughter, she'll probably, you know, she'll have someone to fight with all the time with me, obviously. And so it'll be crack up, bro. She's already putting up her attitude and all that. It's
Yeah.
crack. It's
Now
cool to see.
they develop their sassiness
Yeah.
early, kids. Eh?
Oh, bro,
Yeah.
honestly, bro. And I'm just like looking at her every day and I'm like, holy. But yeah, in terms of dance, in terms of me navigating like what that looks like for dance,
Yep.
it's been probably like the healthiest season that I've been in. Even if I've like, because I will still work
cool.
hard, I'll still do whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like having her in my life now just makes everything way more worth it, bro. It's
Would you
I've-
say more purpose or
I would say it's just brought. I said this to someone before, but it's just brought magic back into the world, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like when we were kids, bro, we used to dream of everything. We wake up and used to be excited about what's gonna happen today.
Right.
For me, and maybe just adults in general, like that kind of wears off. You know what I mean? Because you're kind of
it does.
you're worried about stuff and you're
You
kind of
become
plan
more
about
worried
stuff.
than excited.
Yeah, and I think having my daughter, it's just brought magic back into the world, bro. We celebrate
love
things
that.
different.
I love hearing that.
You know what I mean? It's like little things, bro, like New Year's, Christmas, like birthdays. It just means more. And then
Right.
like recently we had like my wife had her show, and so doing the show with her, it just made the experience like even crazier, bro. Like we would take her into the to the theater, show like these are all things that as dancers we're just growing accustomed to.
Right,
We kind of just like, oh yeah, another theater, another
Yeah,
lighting
yeah.
rig, another show,
Yeah.
another piece.
Yeah.
But when she was there and I was holding her in the production booth and stuff like that,
Yeah.
she was just the best, bro.
Lit up, yeah,
She like
nice.
would light and she would just laugh and she would
Nice.
just fall asleep, and it's just cool being able to do life with a human that like you created. It's just
Yeah.
weird, bro. It's
Yeah.
Nah,
actually
that's
weird.
crazy, bro.
It's like a piece of
Feel
you, So yeah, fatherhood's been the best ride, bro, for real.
That's so
Been the
awesome
best.
to hear, bro.
Amazing,
That is so.
That's so cool.
We glanced over it just before as you were talking, bro. But marriage, bro.
Yeah.
Another big milestone.
Hey,
and,
now.
hey, congratulations,
Thanks,
bro.
bro.
Like not many people can say they even get married and have children at the same time, and all these existential life things get in the way. But also, you're doing both. You still got your career on lock. So
Thank you, bro.
speak on that. Also, like what's marriage like?
Yeah.
Like, let us know, cause
No. I think what's it called? Marriage. Yeah, I'm real thankful because my relationship with my wife has been solid for
Shout
a
out
number of
Knowles.
years.
Shout
Yeah,
out
shout out
Knowles.
Knowles. So she's been like a best friend of mine for a long time.
You
Even
guys would have
before
known each other for a while, huh?
Yeah, bro. Like even before we got official, and it was real funny, like just how things came about with that transition from being friends to then being like an actual couple. It was real trippy, bro. It was literally like right before we went to Japan the first year. I think this was like 2019, but like we've known each other since 2011 or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
2010. So it was
Wow.
almost like 10 years, of just like friendships, of just like being real tight.
Right.
And a part of me was always wanting to be with her, but it was always just weird because of, I guess, just the people that we're around just didn't see that kind of happening. And then it wasn't until later in life where I was like, you know what? I've spent too much time worrying about
life is short.
yeah, bro. And so it was real crack up. Like right before Japan, I hit her up. We talked about it, and we just had a conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Nah, you're the person that I really want to be with, and
Of course.
there's no one else that I can see myself wanting or whatever." And
Yes,
so, No, but for real.
Writing down
no,
notes.
no.
Writing
But
my
for real
notes.
though, for real, we talked about it, and then 2019 it was official,
Right.
and then we got married, a couple years later, and
Yep.
it's been such a ride, bro. Like,
Yep.
apart from just different things in our life, like obviously COVID, we lost like some really close friends of ours, so it's been like a real hard journey. But I think marriage in general, I'm real fortunate because I can say this, but there was a lot of learnings that we had to go through as friends, and even initially as just like a couple
Right.
that when it came to like actually being married and kind of all of that,
Right.
a lot of the, I guess, struggles or a lot of the learnings that come with being in a marriage and, doing all of that stuff, we kind of already learned along the way earlier. And we stuck through it. And I think that's all you can do with marriage, bro, is just stick through it. And
Yep.
obviously now with our daughter, we're constantly like navigating what that looks like. And obviously with our different career pursuits and our artistry, it's always evolving. But all I know is that like I'll always have her back no matter what, and
Facts.
we'll do things together. That's all it is. Like honestly,
Only way to do it is together.
to be honest, I
No,
don't see it
that's
any other way.
beautiful, brother.
That's cool.
But yeah, shout out to my wife. She's
Shout out to
honestly
Knowles.
the rock.
The Rock.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, bro, just hearing like what fatherhood and marriage and just where you came from, I feel like I'm already like, to me, like when we're talking to him like this and we're getting to know him, it's like I'm reading your autobiography, but in real time, you know what I mean? Which is exactly what we wanted.
This is what we even wanted to know. You know,
yeah.
a bit of your story and how you've navigated those things, fatherhood and marriage. So crazy.
Sweet, bro. So we're gonna like kind of flip the script now. So yeah, we've gotten to know you a little bit about who you were, bro. So we're gonna imagine you're a coin, bro, and just flip you on the other side, bro, and ask the same question, bro, but say who is Lightsaber, bro. So now we're kind of like scratching the surface of
Your dance history.
career, your dance history.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to know, where you actually came up with that name. I know you got the history with the lighthouse and all that stuff. It might,
Like, did that influence the name?
Yeah.
So just speak on that, because I'm
Yeah,
really
hard.
keen to.
Yeah, hard, bro. I think Lightsaber, the character, or Lightsaber, just what Lightsaber stands for, stems from me as a person of having that like constant chip on my shoulder, like always. Like, and I think Lightsaber, that's why I think I'm able to tap into that kind of realm. And I remember when I initially came up in the scene, people were buzzing out at just how aggressive I was, or like they're like, "Oh, Buzzy." But I think it all just stems from like me having this constant chip on my shoulder, like and kind of translating that into the art form, and just kind of being able to provide a space where taking that energy and putting it in a positive outlet. This is the result of what that looked like. And the name itself, it was actually a name given to me, which was real Buzzy, bro. So when Lighthouse Fams, which is my wife, she kind of had the inception of it years ago. And she had like a conversation with someone else at the time. They were like, yo, what if we do something together as like a Crump fam and make it official? And then this is when I was just in Eclipse at this point. I was super new.
Shout out Eclipse.
We'll go through this soon.
Let's
Go through.
But yeah, so I recently joined Eclipse during that time. And near the end of the year somewhere, there was like a showcase. And then in that showcase, there was like a session.
Right.
At that session, they pulled me aside and they were like, yo, we want to give you the name Lightsaber. And at first, I hated the name, bro. I was like, Jay, I'm going to get roasted. I was like, what? Lightsaber? But, I think it came out of like, yo, you move sharp. Like, you know what I mean? Like, your move is sharp.
That makes so much sense,
bro. So
that makes so much sense, bro.
They were just like, yo, this is kind of the name that kind of sits. And at that time, everyone in Lighthouse Fams had a name that linked in with light.
Light.
So it was all like, General Light, Light Fury. Yeah, Light Fury was a lit name. I was like, damn, must be nice. Light Vision, Light Vision, Major Light.
Major Light is another lit one.
Yeah, Lieutenant Light. And so, I was just Lightsaber. So
Which one was Nozzles?
Lieutenant.
Light.
Yeah.
I remember.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm just tapping into my memories now.
Yeah.
But we went to a treason and yous were there.
Yeah.
Byron, all that were there. This is when is Byron still under what's his name?
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Jordan? Is Jordan?
Mutiny?
Mutiny. Yeah.
Is he still under? No.
I don't know if he rips it, but yeah, I'm not too sure.
This is around that time. So
Yeah.
for all the crumpers out there, you know what kind of era I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And Knowles was there.
Yeah.
But she was going by Lieutenant Light then.
Yeah, bro.
She was battling someone else, and she had this jacket trick. She wrapped
Yeah,
it around
true.
her forearm, and the beat went k.
And it unraveled.
Yeah. That was so
Anyway,
buzzy.
sorry, I was just happy.
Was
sorry
that the
to-
first one?
No, don't be sorry.
Might have been.
Was that like NZ versus Auckland?
Oh, NZ vs Auckland.
Yeah,
It
bro.
might be. Like this is when I was just first like getting into the kind of crump scene.
Yeah.
And you, Byron, and someone else battle is a 3-way.
Oh, okay. That was on the stage, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
I see.
yeah,
I see.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was when Ruin was here.
Yeah, right.
That's the one.
That's why I remember that one because that guy was here.
Yeah. Lit, bro.
Yeah, sorry to
No,
sidetrack the
it's
whole
cool,
thing.
bro.
Yes, so
That's lit.
lightsabers.
Yeah.
That's cool to. Oh, did you have a question?
Now, I just wanted to chime in.
Mm-hmm.
Can we almost get a little timeline
Cool.
of
Yeah,
like,
here we go.
did you start with like a crew, like a Corrie scene? Were you in the Corrie scene?
Yeah.
Or were you a crumper? Or like, just give us a bit of background on that. Like,
Where'd you start?
Where did you
Damn.
start?
Crazy. You guys want to go right back to like
So like,
Only
we want
Hunger
to know
days?
everything.
All right, so yeah, coming into the game, I think growing up, I started just with Crump. So Crump was like but when I say start with Crump, it's literally like my teachers were the DVDs. Like
Yeah.
1.0, 2.0.
yeah, 1.0,
I think we all
2.0.
started.
Those were the
I
DVDs,
remember
right?
those DVDs because they'll be in that hall.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they're like, this is a stomp. And then
Yes,
everyone's
bro.
like,
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
back,
Bro.
just doing their stomp.
It's legit, bro. So yeah, so when I first kind of really pursued dance,
Crump was your sort of gateway into
yeah,
it. You
for
sort
sure, bro. It was the very
gravitated
first
to
thing.
that?
So I gravitated towards Crump, and then that whole ABDC kind of era came in, and then me and the church boys, we kind of we're getting into our little thing. But it's real buzzy, like just kind of taking that learning, fast forward into like high school era. I was always like into Crump, but I never really would dance in front of the other boys just because.
Yeah, right.
And then that's where I actually met Skipper, Carlos. Because we were in year 9, so he came to Only Hunger High School.
Yeah.
And then from there, that's where we met.
Right.
And we just kind of like tried to do this. We had like random sessions during lunchtime, like, at Only Hunger High School or whatever.
Right.
And then later got into Bring It On. Then from there,
Bring It On.
Bring It On was a big thing here in Auckland.
bro, it was huge, bro. If you weren't a part of Bring It On, and it was so funny, bro, because I think from year 10 to like year 12, or year 10 to whichever year, because we didn't do it every year,
Right.
But there was a couple years that they missed out. I didn't even make it into Bring It On. So I was like, bro, that just grew the chip on my shoulder, cuz.
That chip becoming a brick.
Yeah, bro, legit. And so,
Hell no, bro.
like year 9, tried out to Bring It On, didn't make it. Year 10, didn't make it, or we didn't do it. And then it wasn't until maybe like year 12 or year 13 or something like that finally made it. I was like, oh, yo. And then that was kind of my first real taste of like choreography.
Right.
The next year later, I stopped doing like rugby and all of that stuff and just stuck to like kind of being a dancer. And then, fell into what was called the Dream program back then. And that was a program that had all these different choreographers come together from Street Dance New Zealand or SDNZ or whatever it was called back then, which was headed by my wife, which was Crack Up. And so she, made that whole thing. and then it was like I think it was on its second or later half of where it wasn't as popular, but it was kind of
Right.
still there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was real grateful because I was a part of the last intake or one of the later intakes of Dream.
Yeah.
And then when I got in, it was like Indigo, Vivian. There was heaps of people, bro. Like I was like super
the
fortunate.
OGs
It was real cool. And we were the whole varsity. I think we were varsity back then. We weren't the adults.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then from there, actually was going into an audition later that week for Resample. So I auditioned for Resample, and I was gonna be in Resample
research, fam.
for the Groove 2011 set that they did.
Groove.
And that was
Yeah,
when
everyone knows
Lawrence did that whole that Dougie thing. Yeah.
That's iconic.
That's iconic. Yeah. With the
Yeah.
whole all Gene,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
know, and there was a bigger group of them.
Right.
But that same, like maybe a couple weeks later, Knowles hit me up to see that she wanted to put together like an Eclipse, like a crew called Eclipse. Now Eclipse competed that same year earlier on, but
Right.
that was with the Twins,
That's right. Yeah.
Shakes.
Shakes.
So it was like a different generation. Edu Clark.
Yeah.
And so they were like the first generation of Eclipse, and they
Eclipse,
did
yeah.
All these
nationals.
name drops, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
They did nationals that year, and I remember because I'm such a dance nerd. So not only did I have the Crump DVDs, but that same year I was able to get the DVD of SDNZ.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was watching that like religiously, bro.
Religiously,
Like
yeah.
honestly, religiously.
For sure.
And then auditioned for Resample, got in, went to one rehearsal, and then got the opportunity to join Eclipse. And for me, it made sense because Resample were just a varsity group,
Right.
and that was my last year in varsity. And so I was like,
Right.
you know what, I'm gonna try and see how I do with the adults
The
team.
adults, right.
So yeah, joined Eclipse that year, and then ever since then, kind of just fell into the whole choreo scene and
Yeah.
never looked back really.
Yeah.
Nice.
Crazy.
Yeah.
After Eclipse, where does Prestige fall into the
Bro.
timeline?
Yeah, so it went Eclipse for a number of years,
Right.
and that was an awesome experience because that's when we really, for me myself, that's where I really kind of fell in love with like the crew scene. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and I think when I came into it, like all of the other boys, they kind of already have been around, but for me, I was like a kid in a candy store, bro. I was like loving everything.
living, bro.
I was living, bro.
You were
I was
living,
like, yo, just rehearse,
Yep.
compete, and that's, obviously with ID, the boys, like it was mean, bro. Desire 2.0 as well. There was just some mean like competition, and then fast forward a couple of years later, I stepped away from Eclipse to kind of pursue my own thing,
Right.
and then Prestige honestly came way later, bro. Like
Yeah,
I would
was a
say,
little bit
it was a
later,
bit
right?
yeah,
later.
like it only came because I was like, man, I miss dancing with the crew, and
Yeah.
I miss dancing with a group of boys that are from like South Auckland.
South Auckland.
And for me, it's
yeah.
always like, man, it's close to my space,
you are,
and
yeah.
if I can ever, just kind of be an ambassador for South Auckland dancers, like I'm gonna just do that.
Yeah.
And so
course.
I actually hit up the boys. I can't remember what year it was, if it was 2015 or 2016 or something. But I hit up the boys at one random Prestige class, and I was like, "Yo, I'm keen to be a part of Prestige. Let me know what you guys think."
Okay, so you approached
approached
them.
I hit them,
yeah,
I hit them up, and then
Yeah, I would have said yes
I would've
straight
been like,
away.
what?
bro, so they were like, they actually came back to me and they're like, you know what? I told them no pressure because I'm still gonna be traveling. I'm still gonna be
Yeah.
like doing
Doing
my
your
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so whether it be this year or whenever, like just let me know. And then they came back to me and they're like, oh, like we feel like the spots are like limited,
Right.
so we're just gonna go with our crew. And this was with Ellie, bro. So I had a conversation with Ellie, and he was real cool about it. And then he was like, oh yeah, bro, like maybe there might be an opening next year or something. And I was like, oh yeah, sweet, like all good. I'm gonna just because
Yeah.
I'm still going to urban dance camp. I'm still doing my travels.
That's
and
why you were doing a lot of
Yeah,
camps
bro.
back then, eh?
yeah, bro. And it was just my kind of way to just stay sharp and just
Yeah.
be a part of
Upskill,
it, bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so then I disappeared for like a couple months, and then the position came back, and there was an opening, and then that's where it kind of fell into place over there, bro.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Sully, can I just say that sounds crazy to me? Like
Yeah.
Ken Vaega comes to you and goes, Sully, can I join? And you're like,
I-
oh.
Yeah, nah.
Sully, that's
it's-
crazy.
yeah.
Shout
It
out
was
to
real
Ali
buzzy.
though. You're like,
Hard.
already an OG, you know what you want and all those things. But damn, I would have been like, yes, please.
Yeah, and I don't
You're
know
in
if I don't know if it was I don't know if it was his call. I think it was like a group thing, but I
Course,
think
of
also
course.
the boys were like more so mindful because you know at that stage there was a couple of people going in and out of different teams, and
Right.
you know they just didn't want anyone that would come in temporarily and then just like
Course.
ditch on them and stuff
Course,
like that.
of
And
course.
so I kind of got where they were coming from, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was at the same time I was like, all right, that chip just
Yeah.
getting bigger and bigger, man. But yeah, so I just worked even harder, bro, and just tried to keep my head down and just
Right.
do my thing. So that's where the prestige thing came through, bro.
That's crazy. That one thing I do, and I can say that I like
Mm.
admire about your journey, is that you were always that dude that just did it.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
were
Sure,
you
bro.
were traveling
All action, bro.
all action, you know, and no one, you didn't really say much. You just did.
Yeah,
So
sure,
your
bro.
actions, and then that's why I think when you shot up, especially in your crump career,
Yeah.
like it wasn't what do you call it? Like it made sense because you were grinding
You were-
for years prior to that.
The work ethic also, like it's bound to, like, that's the only trajectory that
Yeah.
you can go, really.
Sure,
So
bro.
that's why when you shot up and then like became like
It just made sense.
massive, yeah, it made sense. I was
Made
like,
sense.
yeah, this dude deserves that. Like he
Sure, bro.
was grinding from a young age and just doing your own thing.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a lot of, even I could say for myself, there were times where I was just waiting for people to help me out.
Yeah.
But then, no, that's why I think that's awesome, bro.
Sure,
You're
bro.
such an inspiration
Sure,
when it
brother.
comes to that, because you're one of the dudes in New Zealand that I can say that's like your actions spoke louder than your
Sure,
words,
bro.
because you just did.
Yeah.
You did it. You traveled across the world, did all these crazy like camps.
Yeah.
Traveled the world, did all these amazing workshops with Crumpers, with
Yeah.
the OG. So you're like, you were building such a strong foundation for yourself.
Sure, bro.
And then now you're just like flourishing, and
Appreciate it,
because
bro.
you did the mahi.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
you put in that grind and you did the mahi, and now you're like, you know,
And Sully, because of all of what Chevy's talking about,
Mm.
when you were doing these things, was you were actually making the world smaller for the rest of us. If
Buzzy.
that makes
yeah, 'cause
sense.
you were connecting the world to us.
Yeah. So like when we
Through-
saw you at like urban dance camp or sessioning.
Yeah, I remember
with,
seeing him with Keone.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Keone and Murray. I was like,
Yeah, bro.
Sully, what?
"Oh."
Yeah, bro.
And we only just, and back here, we were just watching them,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
on YouTube, and you were
And you were
dancing,
dancing with them?
Yeah,
Crazy.
bro. Honestly, Urban Dance Camp will forever hold like a real special
Special.
Right.
place in my heart, you know, because yeah, that definitely put in a lot of like that was a place where I was really able to connect with different people from all over the world.
Yeah.
But it was also, I don't know what it is, bro. Maybe it's like I think it's something that you guys can speak on too, is when you guys travel overseas, it's like this like you step into like another version of yourself that like knows no boundaries, you know what I mean? Like I don't know what it is here, like, and I've said this on other like podcasts or like having conversations with different people.
Yeah.
Like whenever I go overseas, it's like I literally like the shell that I'm here.
Yeah.
Like it's like I come out of it.
Do you know
I
what?
get
I
what you
do
mean.
remember you talking about this.
Yeah,
somewhere.
bro. Somewhere I can't
On a
remember
But I
where.
story
do
or
get- I
something.
know what you
do
mean.
know what
Yeah,
you mean.
and it's real buzzy, bro. Because when I was in Germany and being around all these different dancers, like who I was there and the confidence and maybe the mana, like I don't know what it is, bro. Like I feel like
Speak on those.
whenever I go like overseas in
Right.
Europe or whatever, it's like I'm way more sensitive and aware of who I am,
Right.
and the cultural like gold that I carry, the weight that I carry, you know
Right.
what I mean,
Yeah.
in who I am, just as me, like you know my bloodline and all of that, and
it
it's
becomes a little bit more. You have a bit more pride
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
go over to those
100, bro,
countries.
100, bro.
Do you know
And-
what one aspect of like when you're talking about that shell that you're talking about, and then you kind of like break out of it?
Yeah.
When you're overseas, for me, this is just might be one aspect of it, but for me, like the people that are overseas, like they don't know me. Like,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
They don't know me. Like
Yeah.
like how
Yeah.
me and this guy know each other. They don't know who I am. So like for me, it's like they don't know me, so I'm about to kind of show them type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas like when you're home of course, like everyone knows everyone,
Yeah.
especially in the dance community. Everyone
Yes.
knows
Yeah,
everyone,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like you kind of feel like you get that, like everyone knows you anyway. Like
Yeah.
here, they
Yeah,
already
yeah.
got
So
that.
you don't really want to step out of your shell because
Right,
they know
right.
you.
They know
Yeah.
you.
Whereas when you can go
Go
overseas, you
overseas, you're
don't
like, gee, you
feel
don't know
that,
me.
Yeah.
You
that
don't know me
pressure
like that.
or like.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts,
That's
bro.
just one aspect that, like, that's just what went off in my head when you were talking about that. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's kind
Yeah,
of what
no,
you
100%, bro. That's definitely like another part of it too. And I think why I bring that up is because like I feel like, you know, all of us overseas, it's just like so cool to be able to step into things that you may not be able to step into here.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Different
honestly,
spaces, yeah.
it's real buzzy, bro. It's super trippy, and it's something that I'll always forever be grateful of just experiencing for
Yeah.
me. And
Right.
now knowing that, like, yeah, you know, I might not have good performances or trainings here, but best believe when I'm overseas now,
Oh, of course,
like,
of
yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
pop
yeah.
off, and
course,
you know,
yes.
it's all gonna sit well. So
It's
Yeah.
a given.
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah.
Awesome,
yeah,
brother.
just going along with what we were talking about with your career and stuff like that. Do you have like because you've been international for a while now? Do you have like a favorite event that you've been to?
Favorite
Like
event?
whether that was
And
EBS,
that's like even
KOB?
like the way it was run.
Yeah,
Not like your experience like winning or losing,
Yeah.
more the like
any
the
that
whole
like you felt
experience
present
of it.
in, or
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah.
Bro, I love how KOB is run. Honestly, KOB is one of my favorite events. Just more so, yeah, because of how they run things. It's
Right.
just super on, bro. Yeah, and I think if we're just to kind of all up kind of think about regardless of like styles or whatever, Urban Dance Camp for me was one of the best because I was able to be in a space where I was learning from so many different people.
Right.
Yeah.
So Urban
Right.
Dance Camp for me is definitely one thing as well. And you know, because Urban Dance Camp, you're in a small city, you're in a big country, but it's like literally such a small city.
Yeah,
So
right.
you could literally walk the whole township.
Yeah.
Where is Urban?
It's Urban Dance Camp was based in, I can't even say it properly, but Lörrach. It's like at the bottom of Germany, real close to Switzerland.
Oh shucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, bro. So it was real funny because when I went back to Germany for EBS, it felt like routine, bro. Because I've been here before. Like honestly, bro, I swear.
That's
Because
so
that same
buzzy.
year, you know, the whole prestige thing happened. It was like, when is HHI? Like August or something like that.
Yeah,
Around
August.
then, yeah, July.
So roughly in August, August, and then later it was EBS, either September or October.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So for me, the traveling, all of that stuff, I had like a real short amount of time to like prep
Prep.
for
Go for
Yeah.
EBS.
Right.
But it was great because of the travel experience, because of what we did that last year, which was stupid and insane. But we did it and it was
Right.
lit.
Right.
But it was crazy. That whole experience kind of bled into
Yeah.
my experience with EBS. And then just keeping in mind that I've already been to Germany before,
Right.
Yeah.
it felt like nothing too out of the ordinary. Like I've already been there.
Right.
But yeah, that's one random
All
thing,
right.
bro.
Nah.
Speaking on EBSs, we have to talk about this. Like,
The
you've
year-
probably heard, like,
You'll
gone
probably
on about
talk to
this
a lot of people
heaps
about
of-
this.
But EBS, you have done what no other man in New Zealand has done, and you won the EBS championship. That's like, for people who don't know,
That's like the world champ.
what would you say? Like, yeah,
Yeah, I would
the
consider
pinnacle?
it like it's like the Olympics of like
Yeah.
the sport so far.
right.
Yeah.
And this guy won.
What year was that again, my brother?
It's 2018. 2018, bro. 2018 will sheesh.
Speak on it, also.
Just
Like,
give us a little bit of like how was
what's
the
it like being the
experience?
champ?
And then even like when you got back,
Yeah.
how did that change your like training, your mentality,
Right.
knowing that you became a champ of like you know, you're like, damn, did that change your training or your mentality in any way?
Yeah, this is cool, bro. It's been a while since I've been able to like talk about EBS, but
Right.
I'm always grateful. So firstly, I'm always grateful to the opportunity and kind of just being able to say that I
Yeah.
am one of the few winners of EBS. 2018 was such a crazy year. 2018, that was the first year where Prestige were really trying to get back into the competition scene.
Yeah.
So, my schedule in 2018 was just insane because at that point I was still wanting to, battle and do things. But at that same point as well, we're still trying to maintain like our training, and we did the whole regionals thing. And then obviously nationals.
Full on year for you.
Yeah, bro. Like it was super full on. And I think the way that my weeks were, it was like we would train Tuesday, Thursday, but every other day was like me wanting to just battle and session.
Yeah,
so we would always, me and some of the boys, we would just session every other day.
Right.
So yeah, I was just doing way too much. And then obviously during comp season, there's always like these fundraisers and all of that stuff. So there's extra rehearsals. But I think, EBS, we did nationals, which was awesome. And that was kind of my first real experience kind of coming back as like an adult. I think. I mean, I felt like I was a kid doing Eclipse. I felt, I was an adult, but I felt like a kid doing Eclipse way back then.
I'm still 18.
Yeah. For real, though. For real. All you 18-year-olds, bro. Shucks. We on the same thing.
We're the same age.
But, so it was crazy coming back to it and just experiencing it again.
Right.
It was awesome. And then going overseas, whole HHI thing, like that whole day where we had to transition and change our whole routine in 18 hours. So like, that was the year.
Surely that was.
Yeah.
So you went from the
to the orange tracksuit thing.
Suits
Yeah.
to the grey.
Yeah, bro. To the grey hoodies.
I remember.
Bro, so that whole experience was hilarious because our prelims, we came 4th. We're hyped.
Yeah.
The semis, we came 8th. We're like, nah, this is mud.
Yeah.
Like, what are we gonna do? And I remember we had a meeting in our rooms right after semifinals.
Right.
We all went back to the room. We all kind of like came together, and we're all like, okay, what do we do? Do we keep the same routine, or if you guys are keen, Ali was saying like, or if you guys are keen, we'll change everything. And I remember like sitting there looking around.
Yeah,
it was like,
it
was like real buzzy, bro. Like all the boys, even me, like I was real cut. I was like, damn. Like, we worked so hard to do all of this.
Course.
You know what I mean? And in my mind, I'm thinking, because prior to nationals, I can't remember the timeline in between, but there was also the EBS qualifier somewhere in between in New Zealand, in Palmy. Yeah, bro. So that was a crazy experience for me because, that's when, because the year before, going back, sorry, I'm just going back. Going back, EBS qualifier the previous year, I lost to Byron, to 13. Right. And I was like, damn, like, I thought I was going to go a little bit further. But shout out to 13 because he was doing lit. And then 12 was the one that represented New Zealand that first year.
Yeah.
So he represented New Zealand and he was able to go on that stage for the very first time, just all up in 2017. Then 2018 comes through, and then right as we kind of come together, they square us off, and they're like, "Okay, cool, you get to choose who you're gonna battle." In my mind, I'm like, "Yo, I lost to him last year. I'm gonna call him out here." So I went straight for 13, bro. So that was the first battle of the top 16 or the first round. Like, I just went straight to him. I'm like, "Nah, if I'm gonna win this, I'm gonna choose the hardest. I need to choose the hardest route, bro, because I'm not gonna punk out or whatever." And I remember, he won the last time, and so that was that whole experience. And it's funny, bro, because we drove down, we stayed there for a night, then we had the like a pre-session or whatever, and I was feeling like super gloggy, bro. Like I was just like so tired or whatever. And then later that day, we went to the spa or whatever. Me and some of the boys, and then for whatever reason, I was still like just real off. But then I was like, you know what? Come on now. Come on now. And then that's what drove me, bro, was like, I got to call out 13. I got to find the best. And that route, I remember, was one of the toughest because even in my semifinals, I had CT, I think it was. So even that semis was lit to me, bro. And then after that was freaking was 12. And so,
bro, that is the hardest route.
It was one of the it was one of the hardest, bro. It was real cool. And then after that qualifier, going into the whole world's prep. But I remember sitting in that room, me thinking about all of this stuff. Right. And I was like, bro, you know what? Like, if this is the hardest way to go about it, but if it means that we have a chance to just get somewhere else and maybe place, like, bro, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And so I remember looking around the room, our faces were like it changed from like being down to them being like, you know what? Actual like stuff this, bro. Like, let's go. Let's all do it. So legit, bro. Like right after that meeting, we stayed up the whole night.
Right.
Choreographing or having different pieces like choreographed. We went into the studio the next day, stayed there till we had to get our asses out and then go back to the hotel to get changed.
Bro.
To get ready.
Wait, Sully, you were practicing until stage?
So we had, honestly, bro, it was just a real buzzy experience. So with that first night gone,
That's crazy.
after semifinals being, the results or whatever, went back to the hotel room. We practiced for a couple of hours. Then we went to sleep so that the next day, I think we got there at like 7 or 8 or 9, something like that. It was real early in the morning. We didn't stay till the next day after that. So when we had to go and prep we only had to leave because we had to shower up. Yeah. We had to grab our gears and then we had to go to the arena. That's the only reason why we left. So we're in the studio for literally like 18 hours, bro. Like straight, like putting all this new stuff together, hungry, tired, and we knew like the next day was it. So we're just like, gee, we can't leave.
This is
We can't leave, bro.
Yeah.
We can't leave. And all the boys, made that commitment. And then
shout out to the boys.
Yeah,
man.
bro.
That's
Honestly,
crazy.
shout out to the boys because that was a crazy experience.
Yeah.
And then, obviously the payoff was insane because no matter what result came out of that, right after we performed, we left the stage, and bro, I swear you could hear us from like around the corner, bro. We were just so hyped,
Right?
Yeah.
and we're so stoked.
Right.
And I think leading into my EBS prep, it was only like 6 weeks or something, bro. Like I had next to no prep, and all I did was I messaged my big homie Beast, and I was like, "Oos, what do you think is the best way to go about this? Because I've just finished, like I just got back home. I'm trying to figure out how to train, blah blah
You
blah."
must have been tired from that whole.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah, bro. I was knackered, bro. I think I had to have like a 2-week break because I was just tired from just everything. And then not too long after that, I had to re-prep for freaking EBS, and it was just crazy, bro. Like prepping, doing all of this stuff, fundraising, trying to get funds to go over, as well as just keeping in mind that 12 was the one who represented New Zealand first, and there was this big pressure of like, gee, like we have to pop off here.
Yeah, of course.
Getting to Germany, being around with the different dances and stuff like that was awesome. But I had another thing, bro, where I got to the space and there's like a room backstage where they collect all the dancers.
Right.
And I don't know if it was a mistake on their part or whatever, but they're reading all the dancers as their names, like Cyborg,
Oh, the crump.
crump names, da 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 da. It got to me, and I was like, "Yo, is Ken here?" I was like,
So
"How to the nah." So this chip on my shoulder kept like, I was like,
This reaffirming.
"Gee, honestly, bro." So I just and they kept doing it like the whole time. They were like, "Yo, is Ken?" I was like, "Yo, Lightsaber," like, or Junior Street Beast, like call me either or. And they're like, "Okay, sorry, Junior Street Beast."
Yeah.
I was like, so I'm grateful to be Junior Street Beast, but it was real funny how they preferred to call you names that are under people that are known.
Yeah, they weren't even gonna give.
They weren't even gonna give
for
you
light.
Lightsaber.
And even when I think even when Trent went, he was called Bad Beast X because he was Bad Beast X at the time.
Right.
And so it was just all of these things, bro. Just chip on my shoulder, man. Honestly, and so just
Bigger and bigger.
and it just I think it's always been just my thing. I kind of use it as like fuel or whatever.
That's like Loki, your superpower, man.
Bro,
That's
it's real funny,
Where you
man.
draw your power from.
Yeah, bro. And it's real crack up because 2018 that goes through. My main goal for EBS was just make it past Trent. Right. So that's all it was, bro. Like honestly,
Whatever he did,
I just want to get past that. Like I don't care about anything else,
I want to
bro.
beat my boy.
Yeah, I just want to beat him.
No, but
Shoot, we good, bro.
So in fact, it's the same thing with like all the ID choreographers as well. We make these sets and stuff.
Yes.
And then
we
we watch each other's sets and we're like,
back to the lab. Back to the lab.
That's crack up, bro. I mean, yeah, that's
that's sort of the like healthy competition that friends
for sure.
hard
bring,
up, bro.
right? And that's
Hard
what
up.
keeps us wanting to improve.
Yep.
Is seeing like our friend do something amazing, and then you're like, yeah, I need to step up my game.
Yeah,
of
bro.
course,
Hard out, man. And I think that trip will always, hold a special place. Not for me because of like EBS, but mainly because it was one of our last experiences shared with Montel. So he traveled with us, bro. Yeah. So he was traveling with us. So he was crack up, bro. But yeah, honestly, this
He
fool,
was a funny fella.
Sole, he could make friends with like, I swear, bro. You don't even have to speak English.
So we're gonna sidetrack a little bit.
Yeah.